In this video, we're going to talk about how to install the Facebook pixel with the help of Google Tag Manager. All and more coming up. Hey there and welcome back to another video of MeasureSchool.com, teaching you the data-driven way of digital marketing. My name is Julian. We are live right now talking to you about the Facebook pixel and how to install it with the help of Google Tag Manager. Now, before we get started with this training, why would you install the Facebook pixel? If you want to do any kind of Facebook advertising and you want to take the capability of retargeting your users on Facebook, so somebody visits your website and does something on your website, and then you want to reach that user again on Facebook so you can drive him back to your website, then you want to install the Facebook pixel. It's also very good to install the Facebook pixel because you want to have conversion tracking on your ads. That means, did the user in the end take the action that you want him to take on your website, which could be a purchase, a sign up to something, or a click of a button. And that is something we can all track with the Facebook pixel, and especially with Google Tag Manager makes it a whole lot easier. So the Facebook pixel is really a standard tracking pixel nowadays for Facebook advertising. But you also have the capability, when you install the Facebook pixel correctly, to utilize Facebook Analytics nowadays. Facebook Analytics is something that was born out of Facebook ads and the pixel that was installed anyways already, and you can get more statistics on your website and the user behavior on your website. And there are a lot of different functionalities within Facebook Analytics, which we won't get into today because we really want to take care of the measurement part of installing Facebook pixel today with the help of Google Tag Manager. Now, this is an updated version of a video that we did before because there's always something changing, and I wanted to give you always the best practice. Tracking is an art, so you can always do things in different ways, and we have done them in different past videos differently, but this is how I would install the Facebook pixel nowadays with the help of Google Tag Manager. So let's dive into today's training. Without further ado, here's our Google Tag Manager account. I have Google Tag Manager installed on our demo shop here, as you can see with the preview and debug mode open. And now we want to install the Facebook pixel. Now, the first thing is you need to get the tracking code for the Facebook pixel. Here in our Google Ads account, you can go up here and find your pixel settings. Under all tools, you have your event manager, and then here are your pixel settings. And depending on which pixel you have installed, here's the MeasureSchool pixel. I actually want to take the one from my other ad account for testing. You would build a new Facebook pixel. Now, you can only have one Facebook pixel per account, but once you have it already installed, you will see that here, and you can go to Details. And in the details, you have the setup functionality. Now, there are different ways to install the Facebook pixel. The first thing is through plugins. And there are different plugins available and different methods available. What they also tell you is here the Google Tag Manager plugin. If we go on this option, what this will actually do is upload a container tag template into your Google Tag Manager account. Would I recommend this? Definitely not. I think that Google Tag Manager gives us great control, and therefore we should install it ourselves. And I would also differ from the default installation of the Facebook pixel with this upload functionality. It really gives you a black box here. What is this thing doing? It's just uploading into your account and then publishing, which could be a security risk. So if you are building a bigger account in a bigger company, then you definitely want to go with the manual installation, which I'm going to show you today. So not something that is recommended from my side to do this via this automatic upload functionality. So I'm going to go with the manual installation of the tracking code itself. So here we get a bit of an instruction. We need to install this in the head section of our code. You have Google Tag Manager installed, so you can do this through Google Tag Manager, and it will automatically place it inside of your website and then fire it as early as possible. So you don't really have to care about the placing of the code. you'll just place it in Google Tag Manager, and then we get to our code portion. Now I want to talk about this really briefly because I get a lot of questions about why are we splitting the codes up, which we'll do in a second inside of Google Tag Manager. I'm just gonna copy this, so I'm gonna click on this and then go to my Google Tag Manager account and go to new tag. So we want to add a new tag, and since there is no tag template available here, when they're gonna do this depends on Facebook if they are actually submitting this to the open program that Google Tag Manager has. But for now, we're stuck with the custom HTML version. So here's where you can place custom HTML, and I'm gonna paste the code in here. Now I want to talk a little bit about this code. This code actually does two things. It loads a library, and then it sends a request to that library saying, okay, please track a certain event. And in this case here, in the standard tracking code, we see, first of all, the script portion, then we see a no script portion. Now, inside of the Facebook pixel, if you would place it on your page itself, you would place this whole code on there. Now, the script portion is actually for browsers that have JavaScript enabled, and the no script portion is for browsers that don't have JavaScript enabled, and it will try to still send a tracking request here. Now, in most cases, JavaScript will be enabled, so my best practice is actually to delete this code altogether, the no script tag. You could place it into a image tag within Google Tag Manager, but since Google Tag Manager is just deploying script code and JavaScript, and it's a JavaScript tool in the end, JavaScript needs to be enabled for Google Tag Manager to work, and this is probably the case with 99% of the browsers. The others are bots. And therefore we can delete this no script part. This is just something that I do because I don't really say that I need to have super accurate tracking here. If you want to install the no script part, then you should place it into a image tag, which is also available within Google Tag Manager. So that's one part of it. I won't show you this today. If you have more questions about this, I'm gonna link up something below to tell you how to install this. But then we get to our JavaScript. And this is actually two-folded. As I said, there is a library loading, and this is the library code. It actually downloads the library code from this URL down here. And then it takes the, it sends some commands to that library, and that library then does something, or sends codes over to Google Analytics, Facebook Analytics, or Facebook, the Facebook pixel. So the first line that you see here is, or what I marked here, is the library itself. And then we get to the init call. The init call is the initiation of the tracking code, so it knows where to send this information to which account. And this is where you have your account number in here. Now, this is something that that happens on every page view. It needs to load the library, and then you can send commands. And then we have our second part here, which is the track call, the page view track call. Now, what you could do is obviously for every track call, you would load the library again and again. But this is unnecessary because we just need to load it once on the page view, so at the beginning of the page, and then we can send different track calls. So for example, the user has clicked on something, the user has purchased something, the user has viewed the page. And therefore, I would recommend to split those two codes so you only load the library once. Now, the library needs to load before the actual track call. So that's why this is in order here. We have first the library loading, the init call, and then the Facebook track call. Now what I'm gonna do is actually copy out that track call here and just have my init call and the library loading on this particular tag. I'm gonna call this tag Facebook general or base tracking. So, and we're gonna have this run on all pages. Now we want to deploy this before our track call actually. So we need to put in another configuration down here, which is the tag priority. Now you could also do tag, what's it called, tag sequencing. A little bit more complicated to set up, and therefore I would go with the tag firing priority and just put in a high number here, or it needs to be higher than the other tag that we will set up. I will just put in 100. So Google Tag Manager knows, okay, I need to fire this first. It's a bit of a method to sequence your tags, so to put them in order, but not as stringent as the tag sequencing feature, which I would set up in certain circumstances if you really need to get this in order. Now, what we can do, since we want to deploy this on all the pages, so the library loads on all pages and is ready to fire off any track calls, we go to the triggering side here and select our all pages trigger. This is predefined in Google Tag Manager. So this is all we need to do. If we save this and refresh our page and refresh our demo shop here, we will get our preview and debug mode down here, and we see our Facebook tracking all pages fired. But nothing really happens. So we have this tool installed on our browser. This is the Facebook Pixel Helper that will tell us what events have fired. Nothing has fired just yet. But what we can now do is send any kind of track calls, because our base tracking or library is now deployed. And we don't have to repeat the library over and over again. So what we can do now is just simply build another Facebook pixel that tracks the page views, also on all pages. And here we are going to go with the custom HTML tag, and I'm going to paste in what I've taken out before. Now, since this is a Facebook tracking, since this is JavaScript and this is a custom HTML tag, we need to surround it by script tags. So let's do this right here. I don't know if you hear the construction work, but there's something going on, and they're changing the windows here. So I hope it's not going to get too loud. And then I'm going to choose the trigger. Again, here we could choose a tag priority that is lower than what we have inputted by our Facebook base tracking pixel. But since the baseline is 0, really, it would just fire after the highest tag priority, which is 100. So I can leave this empty for now. So here in the triggering option, I'm going to go with all pages again and save this all. All right, and refresh. And preview and debug. And now we have our two tags firing and our Facebook pixel. And as you see up here in the Facebook pixel helper, data is sent over to Facebook. Now, we should also be able to see that then in Facebook. Either inside of our tracking pixel, there is a debug functionality down here under diagnostics. No. Normally you can see a debug window. Okay, but the second option that we can see up here is view analytics. And this is like the real-time, there's a functionality in there, like the real-time reporting within Google Analytics. So under the event settings, here we have event debugging, and we should see somebody just came to our website or fired our pixel with the Mac OS, which I'm on right now, and the site that it has been sent over is demoshop.com. And that way, we have already now set up our Facebook pixel and the base tracking of the Facebook pixel. And we have two tags installed, obviously. One is for the library that being loaded, and then is the page view that's being loaded. Now, if you just want to have the base tracking code installed with the help of Google Tag Manager and want to have an easy Facebook installation, you are already done. So you just need to go to the submit button here, add a description preferably, and this is for version keeping, so you can go back if something goes wrong. Then you can publish this, and this will now go live to all your users. Now, since this is now installed, all the users that come to the demo shop will be pixeled or will send off requests to Google, to Facebook. So this is the Facebook tracking, base tracking pixel. Now you could stop here and say, okay, call it a day. I have the Facebook pixel tracking installed. You can do a lot with this already, because once you have this installed and it's working correctly and all the pages are tagged correctly, you will be able to build things like custom conversions. So you can just say, we can create a custom conversion here and say, all the traffic that gets to my confirmation page, so maybe /confirmation, I want to call purchase. And this will simply do it. And here we can choose our purchase. And if we have a value for this, so every time somebody buys something, they spend $1, we can already do this. We can also build custom audiences. So over here, we can go into our audience section. And since we have the Facebook pixel installed, we can create a new audience, a custom audience, where we're going to use the Facebook pixel. So we have different methods here to build custom audiences. What we can choose is website traffic now, because we have the Facebook pixel installed. And we can say, okay, we want to have everybody in the audience whoever visited our website in the past 30 days, so all website visitors. You would call this all website visitors, and then create the audience. And Google and Facebook will then gather the people who have visited your website, and the Facebook pixel was fired inside of this audience, and you will be able to use that in your ads. So a lot already that you can do. You can retarget. You can set up custom conversions. You can even do more, but this is a bit where it gets tricky, because Facebook has the capabilities of auto tracking now. So if you have the Facebook pixel installed and it's just a base tracking and there are no events being sent over, Facebook will actually, or the Facebook pixel will actually pick up certain data points. So for example, here micro data was automatically attached. When you see that lightning thing, then you will see that there's been Facebook tracking pixels, data that's being sent over. Wow, this is really loud. I didn't know that they are gonna do this right next door. Anyways, so if I show you right now, if I click on this add to cart, maybe this will work. I'm just gonna click on the add to cart. You see that there was a new event right here, and there was a button click that was automatically picked up and sent over to Facebook. What will happen then if you don't have any other events set up? In Facebook, you will be able, in the Ads Manager, later in your Pixel section, you will see which events are being sent over. So here in the Pixel events, you should see more events down here. And these are, can we see that here? No. These will show up as button clicks. Now, when that does, here it's not yet here, because Facebook will first see how many events are out there and filter out which ones are good and which ones are bad, or which ones are usable, and then will set up auto tracking for you. It will be indicated by a little blue thing. I can't really show you it in my account, but this is the auto event tracking, really. So this is really automatic. And my experience with it is that it's quite inaccurate. So if you're not sending it over manually, or sending it over via Google Tag Manager and really consciously, then Facebook will try to pick it up, because a little bit of data is better than no data. But I haven't found it to be too accurate, to be honest. So I wouldn't rely on the auto tracking feature. I would rather go the next step of actually sending over events in manually or with Google Tag Manager, and consciously and purposely, so you will be able to have them in your account. So let's dive in how to do that. In Google Tag Manager, we have the ability to send over tracking information and pick up interaction data even. So inside of a product page right here, we have the add to cart button. So how would we set up if we wanted to send over this data, a custom event data into into Facebook? Let's go over to Google Tag Manager. And first of all, we would need to set up a trigger. How would we do this? In our trigger section, we can define certain rules. When should our Facebook pixel fire? And here's where we're gonna build a new click trigger for our add to cart button. Once we do that, we can go to the section here where we can see the different events where we can fire our tag. And there's one ability here. This is the all elements trigger. Now, there are different other events, interactions that you can pick up. We have multiple tutorials on this channel on how to use them. And we'll just go with the add to cart button, and we'll go with all clicks for now. Save this, refresh our preview and debug mode, refresh our page. And what would this do, and the setup that I've done right now, it will deploy a generic click trigger. Now this generic click trigger will just fire on any button click. So if we have reloaded this, you will see every time I click on the page, no matter where, it generates a new event down here, which is the GTM click event. Now we need to filter down and only fire our tag on the add to cart button. So I'm going to click on the add to cart button with the command key pressed so it opens up in a new tab and my old tab doesn't close. And we can see here that our 10th click was a add to cart click. And if you go over to variables, we have unfortunately done one mistake. I need to activate all my click variables. So you need to only do this one time. Here under built-in variables in the variable menu, you can go down and see here you have click variables available and you need to activate them first. I should have done this before. Okay, we refresh our preview and debug mode. We refresh our page. And I'm going to click the add to cart button again. And our 5th click here was our add to cart button click. Now what we can do is look in our variables and see how they got filled. Now we see here that our button was filled with target, URL, and the classes here is single add to cart button. And this is something we can use because if I click somewhere else, so let's say I'm going to click on this button here, sign up. I can see how it actually differs from our 5th click, right? So I can see, okay, this was the click classes Ninja Forms, and our 5th click has single add to cart button. This is unique to the button that we have just clicked, and therefore I want to only fire my tag on this button click. So this is how you need to configure it. And we need to go back to our trigger settings here and go into our add to cart click. And again, look into our trigger and then choose some clicks here. And under some clicks, we'll choose the click classes that we want to filter down on. And it should contain, and let's go back here. Let's copy this, see if this works. Single add to cart button. So it should contain the click classes single add to cart button. Only then I want to fire my tag. Let's save this. Now that we have this prepared, we will go and build a new Facebook pixel or Facebook track call for our add to cart button. We go to tag configurations and the custom HTML tag. Now what do we enter here? In our Facebook settings here under setup, we actually get predefined codes, manually install the code again. Here's our base tracking with our Facebook pixel, with our track call for page view. But if you're going to go the next step here to continue, we actually have event track calls that we can use. And there are different that are predefined, purchase, generate lead, and so on. And there's also one that is add to cart button. So here we can choose the add to cart button and get the track call right down here. So let's copy that and put this into our track call up here. So now we have our Facebook track call. Now, since the library has loaded before, we don't need to have that whole string of code. It doesn't hurt you if you have it, but it would potentially load multiple times, which could slow down your page. So we have our track call now in here, and we want to fire this on our trigger that we have defined, our click add to cart. That should do it. We don't have to mess with the tag fire priority because it will either be before or after the page view. And since this is an event, so it's an interaction on the click, the site needs to be loaded anyways before this actually can happen. So you don't have to touch this one, just save this all. Now we can try this all out, refresh our page. Let's refresh this page, get rid of all these tabs. And if I click on the add to cart button with the command key pressed, I should see that now our add to cart button click has fired on our GTM event click here. And the data was sent over. Inside of our Facebook pixel helper, we should also see that our add to cart button was clicked right here. So the information was sent over to Google Tag Manager and then forwarded onto to Facebook Analytics or Facebook ads. And that should then, again, either you will see it down here. This should also be visible at some point, or inside of your Facebook Analytics. So here's our Analytics, event debugging. Let's refresh this. Again, there was another page view, but also an add to cart click that we just triggered. Now, what can you do with this information? You could build a custom audience of everybody who has clicked on your add to cart button. Again, something that is purposely sent over so you can target much narrower than just everybody who visited your page. So I hope this makes sense. And again, if you want to deploy this to all your users, you need to go through the exercise of submitting this as a version, and then it will be published. Okay, last but not least, what about custom data information? So you want to not only send over information about the user who has clicked something or track an event in that page view or a track call, but additional information. So information that Facebook needs to display things like the purchase amount. That's where you can actually extend and use variables with your Facebook pixel. A good example for this is the purchase tracking. So let's go through the exercise of setting up purchase tracking here. Inside of our shop, I'm now gonna just go through a checkout and actually convert on my little demo store here. Place the order. And I need to put in an email address. Okay. And we get to the order received page. Now on this order received page, we could already track this with the Facebook base tracking, right? We just need to know what's in the URL, and then we could set up inside of Facebook Analytics or inside of our Facebook pixel custom conversions. We could say, okay, if this is in the URL, every time somebody comes to such a URL, then fire my conversion. But then you only know how often somebody converted. You couldn't say how much did they actually buy or what did they buy. And this is where we can pick up certain information from the order received page, like for example, the order number, the order total, cash on delivery, and so on. But we need to have that data available in Google Tag Manager first. How can we get that data? There's a video we did on custom conversions and how to get the conversion value from a conversion, and I'm going to link that up down below as well. There are different workarounds. The safest option and the option that I always recommend is to set up a custom data layer. That is a little bit of code that you need to give over to your developer and tell him, please install this in order for me to be able to pick that up with the help of Google Tag Manager. Now, I have a plugin installed here that actually gives me that data. So I have a plugin on this WooCommerce store that pushes the data layer information into, or the information into the data layer. So we have it available. And if you want to download the plugin, it's the Google Tag Manager for WordPress plugin by Thomas Geiger. It's in the WordPress plugin repository. So here you can look into the data layer inside of your preview and debug mode, and you can see what data is actually available. And we have, for example, the revenue that we want to get out of the data layer. We just need to build a data layer variable in order to do this. And to pull the information, we go over to Google Tag Manager and go into variables and build a custom data layer variable. So down here, we use the user-defined variables, and I'm going to call this DLV revenue, and I'm going to pull this out with a data layer variable. Okay. Now I need to put in the name. I need to get to this value. And the way to do this, because this is nested in objects, we need to go to e-commerce, purchase, action field, and then revenue. So we need to install, input this with a dot notation. E-commerce dot, what was it? E-commerce dot purchase dot action field dot revenue. All right, so we have that now available in a variable. Now variables are basically like placeholders, so they pull the right information out, so we can use that later in our tags. So how do we do this? Let's go over to Facebook first of all and look up what information we would need. We will manually install the code again. We will go to continue to go to the next section here. And this time we want to track purchases. Now we want to send over event parameters to Facebook. And we want to send over the conversion value. So this is where we would send over our value like $11. So we get the code down here. Once we can also put in USD. You could put in content ID, content type. I will leave this empty, so this won't be in here. And we can now copy this code. This is just an example code here. And we can build our tag around this. So again, we'll go to our tag, go with new. This will be a Facebook tag for our purchase. And I'm gonna go with the custom HTML. And I'm just going to paste this in here. Now, as you can see, this will always send over a track call of purchase with the value of 11, which obviously needs to change every time somebody goes to that thank you page. And this is where the data layer comes in. It needs to be dynamic in order for the value to be picked up correctly. So we can enter here our variable that we have just created with these two curly brackets. It will open up this menu and we can search. We can search here for our DLV revenue. And this will then be automatically implemented. It's like a placeholder for this tracking code. Now we just need to have the right trigger. And obviously we want to trigger this once the value is in the data layer actually available. So I'm gonna go back to our checkout page and look when is this data available. And we have these different events here, so we can find this on page view, DOM, or on the click event. It's actually available already here in the first event, which is GTM4WP. This is a custom event sent over by the plugin. And this is what I'm gonna use to set up our trigger. Now we have also the event here in the variable GTM4WP order completed EEC. So I'm gonna go to the triggers and build a custom event trigger and just enter this right here. We can leave everything untouched because this will only be deployed once the data is actually available, once somebody has bought something new. So this is a custom trigger for the 4WP order completed. Let's save this And this will now be our trigger that we will use in our tag. Let's save this as well. And refresh our preview in debug mode. Refresh our page. Now the cool thing that the plugin actually does, it doesn't deploy this code again once we reload the page. So it will only deploy it once, which will obviously take care of all the nasty duplication. So we have to go through an actual new checkout. Okay, I'm gonna put some stuff in the cart and simply check out. And place my order. And we get to the checkout page, the confirmation page. And hopefully, if we've done everything correctly, our purchase pixel fired. And we should have in our Facebook pixel helper purchase information. There was an error detected, event code, but it's not activated for this event. So no information was sent to Facebook. There we get to a problem because our Facebook base pixel actually needs to fire before our Facebook event code fires. So we have here our GTM4WP, but only on this page our base pixel fires, and our Facebook purchase pixel fires beforehand. So in this instance, I would recommend to actually use the, well, what could you do? You could do it later on. You could do it before. You could use tag sequencing. There are different methods of doing this. I would, for simplicity's sake, just use our initiation code here again and use that again for our Facebook purchase pixel. So in this case, I would actually put this on top. Again, we need to get rid of certain data. We don't need the track page view here because this will be fired later as well. And so it will initiate with the Facebook purchase call that we have gone through. So let's try this out. Okay, I didn't plan on doing this actually, but yeah, this is how I would set this up if your base pixel hasn't fired beforehand. I'm gonna go through another conversion here. Here we go. We want to ship to the same address, and hopefully now we'll be able to see our Facebook pixel purchase code firing correctly. Yes, we have our purchase firing, and the amount that we have just bought has been transferred as a custom parameter to the Facebook pixel. Now, how can this be useful in Facebook itself? Well, once you have the amount in there, you'll be actually able to customize or optimize your campaigns based on the stuff that a user has bought. Because maybe an ad or a certain audience yields less results in terms of revenue than your users who have been in a or have more results or have more revenue in that sense. So you can optimize based on that. You can do ROI analysis in Facebook as well. You will see that data later in your ads accounts once you start running actual ads. Okay, this is it with the installation of the purchase tracking pixel and the custom pixel. Now, again, if you want to deploy this to all your users, we added the Facebook purchase and add to cart tracking. You need to actually publish this as a version to all your users, so it's gonna go live on your website. All right. So there you have it. This is how you can install the Facebook tracking pixel with the help of Google Tag Manager. There is a bit more to it when you want to do more sophisticated tracking, like sending over product data so you can do product retargeting. you can also let Facebook have more data than it